So the shopping bill data, last time we were actually trying to look at customer behavior about whether they go to the same shop or not, this loyal customer problem. But maybe from the shop's point of view, they might want to understand what type of customers are there. I mean, are there customers who buy similar things, or are there customers who buy different things in terms of targeting them for offers or for attracting them with some new products.
So two customers, many customers tend to be similar in terms of their purchases. Like for example, parents with children who are going to school will tend to buy stationery, books, pens, school materials. They will all buy, right? So they will all so the shop can determine, oh, this looks like
and for example, if
children going to school.
Large families with many people staying, probably their food
bill might be very large. Food bill might be very.
So depending on that, people can decide whether this is a small unit or a
large unit. So I mean, the way the shop can use this information is that if they find that one family which is buying stationery, school going children family, they come and buy a certain kind of stationery item. Then when they see another family which is likely to buy, which is buying stationery, then they could try and promote this item.
Correct.
Right. So it's a way of.
Yeah, I think they would definitely benefit also if they want to make an offer in any way.
In any bundles in terms of offers, combining things.
Visible or in terms of combining it or offering some special price or some seasonal.
So this, I guess, is what most companies do. Their marketing department does this, right? They try and find out. They try to segment the customers. They call it segmentation, right? Yeah. They try to segment the customers into categories and say these are customers who will pay a lot of money or they are likely to buy this kind of product or service. So this method of segmentation, psychographic segmentation method.
And I think they advertise to different groups in
different ways on different channels. Yeah, some might be on children's channel.
Yeah, or they might be social media for a certain group.
Or through social media for those people who are socially savvy. Correct. Print might be a better thing. Yeah. And so on. Yeah.
So I think overall this is a very
useful thing.
Also, even in packaging, I think they make the packaging attractive to us. They might make it bright colors. If
you put a Mickey Mouse or
correct.
So that it will attract children.
Yes, exactly.
You can do that. So I mean, okay. So what we want to do is find out if two customers are similar.
Yeah. So we want to sort of group these customers. So at least we need to find out when two customers are similar.
So similar meaning that they have similar purchasing patterns. They buy similar things.
Exactly.
Right.
So
but what does it mean?
At what level? Because I think with this bill we have
the only evidence we have is the bills.
Yeah, so we have the exact item which is bought, like shoes or socks. Then we have the category. In this particular bill, it is all footwear and apparel, but there also, we remember, we have seen food and cosmetics and all that. So there is a category, there is a quantity, and there is a price. Right? The cost is just the price times the quantity. So I think if we narrow it down to items, it might be because somebody might be buying one type of like shirt, another person.
So I think apparel is.
Yeah, so I think we should look at the level of categories.
So try and group. Even in the category, maybe just look at apparel.
Yeah, so the higher group category. What type? I mean, I think we have packaged food and other food, and so we can just.
You can just say food.
Food.
So you can just say apparel. So let's look at the cards. Maybe we can find the categories.
But if we just look at which categories, that might be too. I mean, everybody might be buying some apparel, some food, some stationery.
You see how many items.
We might want to probably understand how much.
Either we look at the total amount or we look at quantity. We can start with quantity.
Quantity is probably better because total might be skewed by some high price.
One item.
Yeah. So let's do that.
So we want to count the number of items of each category that the person has bought.
Across all the bills.
Across all the bills.
So we don't care which,
person by person.
Which shop they go to, but for each
they don't
person
care which
we
shop.
want to know their
we don't care which shop they go to.
Behavior.
Okay.
So we'll write this down for each student. So the first category, first customer is
Abhinav. Apparel is one category.
Okay. So I will just write.
A you can write.
So
okay.
All right. And in this bill there are four items. 4 items currently for apparel.
So as we go along, we are finding the categories. Okay, let's do that.
So Abhinav again.
Here we have got Abhinav again, and we have got food. In fact, this looks like it is clustered by customer already.
Oh, I think last time we had binned them, and so let us just shuffle them so that we don't know this. And
okay, I'll just shuffle it just to make it. It's okay if it's clustered a little bit. It helps us.
Yeah, but be more illustrative if we have a list which is not.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that should be all right.
So now let's look at the next person on this list.
Neeraja.
Next bill is Neeraja.
It's all food in this. 4 items of food.
So this is a new column, food, and there are 4 items. Okay.
Akshaya. Oh, big bill, huh? Akshaya has now there is something called
category called toiletries. So I'll just write toilet.
Okay.
So toiletries is 4 items, right?
2, 1, 3, 1, 4, and
items.
5 items.
So 5 items under toiletries.
And 1, 4, 5, 1, 6, 2, 8, 1, 9, 1, 10, 11, 15, 16 items in food.
16 items.
Okay. Then we have Suresh. You should count this as 1 item, no? 1.5, because this looks like kg or something.
Fortunately, there's a 0.4, so we can add that.
We'll count it as 1.
Yeah, we'll count it.
1 item, okay.
So utilities.
Utilities is like electronics, utility batteries.
Yeah. So we'll just, I think there are some stationary electronics. We'll put it all in one. So let's put it as, I'll call it utilities, but when we come to these later, we'll decide.
Okay.
So utilities, there is 1 item, right?
It says 2 here.
Oh, 2 items, sorry.
Okay, let it be 2.
And food.
1, 2. Here there are 4 bananas. Here is 1.5 kilos of tomato.
So should we just count it as number of items rather than quantity per item? Then we should go back and probably change those. Let's go back and quickly change those.
Yeah.
We only did 3 for. So fortunate.
Okay.
So
okay, let's start again.
It was 4. We'll make it 3 because there are actually
socks
3.
2. Yeah, we are not looking at 2 socks. Just make it 3. Yeah.
So let's make that 3.
Similarly, Akshaya.
Yeah. So toiletries were 5. We should make it 4.
4. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 9. No, 9. 9.
So make it 9.
9.
And Neeraja was
2.
Actually 2 and not 4.
Okay.
So now we are counting rows of items. Not the actual quantity.
Alright. I think this is getting better, I think.
Yeah.
Huh?
So utilities now is only 1.
Utilities is only 1.
Yeah.
And food is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there is this thing called household. Just general things useful for the house, I think.
Yeah, and
like
these
utensils
are not quite the same as batteries, I think.
No, yeah, I think right.
So
let's put it as household. 1 item. Akshaya has 3 items of food.
Okay. So Akshaya now already had 9 items of
food.
food.
Already has.
So
okay.
we have to just go back and update that. It's going to be a bit messy, but hopefully it will be okay. 12 items of food.
Okay. Sudeep.
Sudeep is new.
New person. 1, 2, 3, 4 food.
4 food.
1 apparel.
1 apparel.
And 1 household.
1 household. Okay.
Okay. Ahmed.
Again, a new person.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 food.
All food.
Okay. Another Ahmed.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 food.
7 or 6? 6, 7. Okay. So
7 food. And 1 toiletry.
Okay. So 8 was there, so 8 plus 7, 15 is now the new number for food.
And 1 toiletry, yeah. Ahmed again. Electronics, which we said we'll combine with utilities.
Yeah.
Okay. So accessories also, same thing. So 1, 2, 3. Stationery also we should do the same thing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 items.
So 5 items. So it's a new bill, but in the same row, but it's the first time, so we just put a 5.
Okay. Radha.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items of food.
Okay.
Srivatsan.
Srivatsan, I think I will need a new card. So I'll just write these categories: app, food, oil, util,
and household.
And house.
Yeah.
So this is Srivatsan.
Srivatsan. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 food.
Okay.
1 toiletry.
Okay.
And 1 apparel.
Okay.
Okay, something is coming. Huh? It looks, some pattern is there. We'll see. Akhil. New. No? Akhil is new?
He is new.
Yeah, okay. Akhil is new. 2 food.
Okay.
Julia. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 food.
Okay.
Advait.
Also new.
Okay, we had Abhinav, Advait, okay. 1 apparel, 2 apparel, 3 apparel. 3 apparels, 1 food,
okay,
and 1 toiletry.
okay.
Abhinav again. Isn't it Abhinav? Yeah.
Yes. List, yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 food.
Okay. So he didn't have any food before.
And 1 household.
Okay. 1 household. Yeah.
Okay. Vignesh.
Vignesh is new.
3 food,
3 food,
3 toiletry.
3 toiletry.
Okay.
Neeraja
we already seen.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4 food.
4 food. So
And 1 cosmetics.
2 food, so 6.
Cosmetics
is toiletry.
Toiletry, yeah, toiletry. 1 toiletry.
Vignesh,
you see?
we have an entry, yeah.
Utility.
So utility is okay.
Utility 1.
Utility, electronics.
What is grooming?
Grooming, I think this is
cosmetics. Toiletry.
Yeah.
Cosmetics. Toiletry.
So 3 under cosmetics, right?
3 under toiletry.
So that makes it 6.
1 utility.
And stationery is also utility, we decided, right?
Okay, so 1, 2, 3.
3 utilities.
3 utilities. Okay. Akshaya.
Okay. Akshaya is already there.
Apparel 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
3 apparel. 1 food.
Okay, so food has now become 13.
And 1 household.
Household is 1. Okay.
Alright, I hope something is coming in this. Huh?
George.
4 food items. George. Okay. Aparna.
Aparna is also new.
1 household.
Okay.
2 stationery, which is utilities, and 1 food.
Okay.
Mohit. You need another card?
Mohit can fit the next one.
Okay. 4 foods,
okay,
and 1 apparel. Ahmed. I think you've seen Ahmed.
Ahmed is there. Yes.
Okay. 3 foods.
Okay, so food is now 18.
Srivatsan. We have seen Srivatsan for sure.
Yeah.
1 utility.
All those 3 are utilities.
3 utilities,
yeah,
and 1 food. We have kind of, we have done a lot of information,
yeah,
simplification we have done, but if some pattern comes, then we can try and confirm, right?
Correct.
If we get a pattern, then we can confirm whether those customers are
Makes
alike
or not.
Yeah, at least the first pass we can do. Srivatsan we have seen already. 4 households. Okay. Rajesh. Rajesh is 2 food, 3 stationery. That is 3 utilities.
2 food and
3 utilities.
Okay.
Srivatsan. It's all food. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 food.
So that is 12.
Advait.
We have
3 foods.
Okay. 1 becomes 4.
Abhinav 2 toiletries.
Okay. I'll add 2 toiletries.
Advait is the last card.
Okay.
4 stationaries.
Okay. So stationery is utilities. Right.
So alright, so we are done with all the cards now. Yeah. 1 pass we did, and we processed it, right? So we got this. We got this kind of a, what do you call this? A table?
Yeah, you can call this a table for sure.
So it's basically the table basically is, we have got for each customer, the rows are customers,
yes,
columns are categories,
yes,
and the entries are
the number of
items.
Line items, the bill rows.
Oh, bill rows. Yeah, we could also take the amount, but we have taken the rows. It's alright, I think.
Yeah, so there are some, for instance, very obvious cases. So there are people like, for instance, Radha,
only bought food.
Julia, George, who only bought food.
So are they similar?
So we could think of them as similar. Of course, I think in all their cases there was only 1 bill. So probably to develop a pattern you need more bills. But on the basis of what we have, we could consider them to be similar just by looking at this.
Okay. So should we put them in the first group?
Yeah. So we can.
Radha, Akhil, Julia, and George, and then we strike it off, or what do we do? So we know we have.
So I won't strike it off, but maybe I'll mark it. So I'll say that these are all only food. Right?
Okay.
So I'll just maybe mark it.
Put a star or something. Yeah. This business of keeping track is not easy. Huh? Huh?
Making it
So,
unreadable. Yeah.
I think we have to figure a way by which we can move down this list in a more, right?
Correct.
Nice way. We will see how to do that, okay. So, alright, so we did one pass, we removed these 4 people, what else? But I mean, you are looking, right now you have looked and you have done something.
Correct. We have to do it systematically.
Computer can't just look at this table and do something, right? It has to, you have to tell the computer what to do. So, you told it basically, in this case you said check whether or not there is only one item and whether, right?
Yeah, across the columns only
one item is there.
Yes.
So, in this case rather these people came out. So, you asked it to look for that. Okay.
So, maybe now we should look for logically 2 items.
Okay, let us look for 2 items.
Okay, so, this is not 2 items. So, let us just mark it as 1 so that we know that this is why we put these guys. So,
Okay.
these are 1 item.
1 item in the same item.
Yeah, same item, only 1 item across all bills.
All bills.
Only one type of item across all bills.
All others have more than 1, right? You have to check that first. We could have 1 item of something else.
Yeah, something else, but I think everybody else.
No, it's not okay. Alright.
So, now if you look at 2 items, so Abhinav has 4 categories that he has bought, but Nirja has only 2. Right?
Food and toiletry.
So, she is a 2 item person.
Okay.
Akshay has got 4, Suresh has got 3, Sudeep is 3. So, now we are doing systematically.
Okay.
Ahmed has got 3, this is food, this and that. And Radha we have already discounted. Rajesh is a 2 item person.
Is the same 2 items as Neeraja?
Yeah, for instance, as not Neeraja, no. Neeraja has got food and toiletries, Rajesh is food and utilities. So, they are not the same people. So,
Okay.
it's not so easy. Srivatsan is multi-item, Faith is multi-item, Vignesh is a 2 item person.
3, no?
Oh, sorry.
3 items. Okay.
Aparna is 3, Mohit is 2.
Is the same? No.
Is apparel and food. So, all of them are food and something, but not the same thing.
Should we consider them similar? They, in a sense, right? They're mostly buying food, they may be buying that way. They are food type people. They went to the shop to buy food, but they also bought an accessory. They bought a stationery item or something else. 1 item. Somewhat similar.
Correct. But just for argument's sake, so for instance, if we look at Ahmed and we look at Rajesh, right? So Ahmed is a 3 item person, Rajesh is a 2 item person.
Okay.
But they overlap on the 2 items, and Ahmed has got 1 toiletry item which takes.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So maybe this is not so.
But Ahmed bought so much of food. All right, I understand what you're saying. So
yeah, so clearly this is something we have to, from our perspective, understand what we want to capture. So do we want to look for an overlap in items, or do we want to look for? The other way of thinking about it is that people who are buying only 1 type of thing probably are less interesting, or 1 or 2 type of things. Their patterns are less interesting for the.
So should we go the other side and look at people who are buying large number of items?
Yeah.
Total number of items.
Let's look at large number of items.
Yeah.
Right? So we'll just make a separate table and just note them down. So we have these 4 columns. App, food. Right? So Abhinav is 1. Clearly in this category, and it is
382.
382. I'll write 0 for now so that we know what it is. Then
maybe we can keep a total, so that's why we are.
Okay.
So total is 3, 8, 11 to 13 on 14 items. So we are basically collecting all those people which have, let's say, more than 10, buying more than 10 total.
we will leave out for now.
Neeraja is not about 10.
So
Akshaya has got 3, 13, 4 and 3, 13, 4, none and 1.
Okay, so again this is 17, 20, 21. Okay.
Then Suresh is small, Sudeep is small, Ahmed is more than, yeah.
So it's a question of totals now, and
0, 18, 1, 5, 0.
And it's 19, 24.
24 items. So these are people who are buying large number of things, right?
Yeah.
They are trying to see whether we can compare them, right, to each other.
Rajesh is small, Radha is small, Rajesh is small.
Srivatsan. 1, 12, 1, 3, 4.
13, 14, 17, 21.
Okay. So we say they're kind of similar. Kind of, right? It looks like that.
Yeah.
Right? They're all buying large amounts of food.
Yeah, but these two, for instance, are buying significant.
So they are more similar than the others. Yeah.
But then there's nothing on. But yeah, let's see. Then Akhil we skip, Julia we skip. Advait is maybe got certainly more than 10 items.
Yeah.
So
let's keep Advait. Yeah. 34140.
So that's 12. Okay.
So Advait, Abhinav and all seem to be falling into one cluster.
Vignesh is also more
Vignesh
than 10.
Also, yeah.
Let's keep 10 as our baseline. So Vignesh
0363.
And now George is small, Aparna is 4 items, Mohit is 5, so we'll stop. So now we have these, say 6 customers.
So who? So so who are we left with? So if you leave that, then who are we left with? You're left with Suresh, Sudeep.
So Nirja also. So the two.
Nirja.
So these guys we have ticked off, right? So Abhinav is moved out, Akshaya is moved out, Ahmed is moved out. And then Srivatsan is moved out, Advait is moved out, Vignesh is moved out.
Okay.
And George, these one item people we have left out. So the people who are remaining are Nirja, Suresh, Sudeep, Radha was a one item person, Rajesh, Aparna and Mohit. So these are the people who are neither in that list.
Maybe just write them on another
I'll
card.
just write them below this.
Yeah, okay.
So we have Nirja.
So that we don't have to look at these cards again. Isn't it? It's kind of, we're done with.
Nirja and Suresh. Sudeep.
Rajesh. And Aparna.
And Mohit.
And Mohit.
Let's write on their things. So it is 061007. And then Suresh is 05016. No, sorry, 11.
Yeah.
Sudeep is
14001.
That's 6.
Yeah.
Rajesh is 0203. So that's 5. Aparna is 01021 is 4. And finally Mohit is 14000 is 5.
So again, see what we have done. We have binned.
Correct. We have binned. Basically,
so first binning we did is we took all those people who did only one item purchase.
So
then we didn't.
The numbers, because there were some people with a large number even in one.
Yeah.
But we didn't. Like 5 items of food we said didn't help.
So we did that. Then the second, what we did is the remaining cards we split into 2 bins. One bin which is basically people are buying large numbers of items.
So say 10 and above.
10 and above and 10 and below. Clearly there is some pattern, right? There's no point in saying this customer is like this customer. So if you're comparing, we should compare inside this. So it's very logical, it seems. Okay, what we have done. So and this is very likely also. You're going to find people who come into the shop and buy large number of things. You're going to find some other people who come to the shop and buy a few number of things. It happens actually. And there are people who come to the shop to buy only one thing. That also happens, right?
Yeah, they have a very focused
purchase.
Some people are wandering around looking at what's interesting.
They spend time in the shop. They spend an hour in the shop, buy a lot of things. Some guy will want to buy only one spoon or something. They'll go to the shop, buy that spoon and go out, right? Yeah. Okay. So within this, we can compare. Are these people all alike?
Okay, so one thing is for sure, everybody buys food.
That is true.
Food does not discriminate between them much. So then in the non-food, well, I guess you have Nirja is the only one who's bought cosmetics in this group. These utility and household, there are a couple of people who have bought Suresh and Aparna. So I don't know whether we want to make such. See, so Suresh and Aparna have bought the same group of things.
So Suresh Aparna are similar, I think. Looks like that actually. Except that Suresh is buying more food than Aparna. Other than that, they are similar in terms of purchasing.
The others are all kind of on their own. In a way, Sudeep and Mohit maybe because Sudeep has got one item of household, but otherwise they have identical 1-4. So
So Sudeep and Mohit. So Suresh, Aparna, Sudeep, Mohit.
So let's maybe just put them in groups of. So I'll call Aparna and Suresh as category A, right? Maybe Sudeep and Mohit in category B in this group. And now, yeah, Rajesh and
Nothing further to say.
We just leave them.
Nothing further to say. But overall, we can say all of these are similar.
Yeah, I mean, of course, we are not going to find everybody goes into. I mean, there are obviously going to be groups which.
So I think all these customers, I would say, are more or less similar, right? Because they are buying food, mostly buying food, but also buying one item, like that. These are people. The first group which we saw, this Radha, Akhil, Julia, George, went to buy just food. Nothing else, okay?
And of course, these low volume things, I mean, finding patterns, usually one needs
more items, right?
More items. So if they've only gone once to the shop, so I think they have more meaningful things will come here where they have 2-3 bills per person. Then, no, so nobody can find a pattern in just one purchase. Maybe as you said, you had a very urgent requirement, you go to a shop, you buy a light bulb and come out. It doesn't mean that you don't buy other things. Right?
So we got two, I think we should treat this as just two groups. Food is one group, food plus something is one group, okay? Now we come to this third thing which has more items. What can we say about this one?
So if we look at columns where they differ, of course everybody buys food, everybody seems to buy toiletries. So these two columns seem to be somewhat at least represented in all. Almost everybody has bought apparel. Okay, 4 out of them have got apparel. So 4 out of them have got utilities and 3 out of them have got household. So one has to distinguish based on these groups. So for instance here, if you look at Ahmed and Vignesh, at least they're
similar.
Zeros in the same column.
Apparel.
Neither have bought apparel
nor household.
So that is one possibility. Or you might want to look in terms of volume, that these 3 people have got significantly more
food items
than these other 3. So there are many different ways one could do this, I suppose. From the perspective of the shop, I would say, for instance, it is fairly clear just looking at this information that Srivatsan and Ahmed are fairly close because they both have a reasonably high total of food and a reasonably high total of utilities.
So when it looks like we are computing some kind of distance measure,
yes,
right? If the items, so whatever we said, if the number of items is large, similarly large, then the distance between the two customers on that score, on that item is small. And similarly, you can take the distance on each of these items and then you add the distances, you add the squares of the distances, something you do, because distance normally x and y, you will do x square plus y square square root of to find the distance, so something like that. So either you add the actual distances or you
column distance, you take this some measure you take for each column, add it up and
add it up, or take the square and add up, or something you have to do, right?
And the further the more the distance, the further apart.
More the distance, the further apart they are. So ideally one should do like that, but here by examination we are right? We are trying to figure something out.
So we are saying that these 3, Akshaya, Ahmed and Srivatsan, are relatively close.
Similar, because they have high food items.
And in that Ahmed and Srivatsan have
even more closer
because they have the same toiletry items and a high, although Srivatsan has a household thing which is very different from Ahmed. But in that sense, Srivatsan is the only one who has a significant household thing here, because everybody else is 0 or 1.
And Advait and Vignesh seem kind of similar. They are buying similar amounts of food, similar amounts of utility, but they are differing in this apparel and toiletry, right?
Apparel and toiletry.
But when we do a distance measure, you will find that distance on this will come out low, distance on this will come out low, distance on this will come out high, distance on this will come out high. So when we do whatever addition or square and add or something we do, you will get some distance measure. It may come out less than the other pairs.
And similarly, if you look at the first 2 rows, Abhinav and Akshay actually are very similar in that sense, because on apparel, toiletry and household they are almost identical, and food, I mean,
utility is 0 both
are utility
and household 1.
And
so the distance here is 0, distance here is 0,
distance in the first column is also 0,
distance here also is 0, only in food you are getting some distance.
And Akshay is on the low end of the scale compared to Ahmed, so there Akshay is in the middle, Abhinav is a little bit below middle if you think of the average of this group. So because you have some really low ones, 3, 4, you have some really high ones like 18.
So actually if you want to pair, these 2 are very similar, these 2 are very similar, and these 2 seem very somewhat similar, right? Something like that.
So if we are doing it systematically, we would take each one of these and
compare it with everything else.
Compute a distance with
everything else,
and use that distance as a criterion for saying. So here we found groups of 2. We might have found groups of 3 if depending on how we wanted to pair them up. So as we said, we could actually have also thought of Akshay, Ahmed and Srivatsan as one group if we emphasize the food as the more significant. So that's another thing. The distance need not be equal in all directions.
Okay, so we did find, I mean, if nothing, we can at least say that there are 3 categories, this category, and this category.
Yes.
This category is one item, buy only food item, people. These are people who buy food plus a little bit of something else, and these are people who go and buy a number of things, many things. And within this you could do further fine grained stuff, alright. So not bad, I mean, for this data we've found something, some pattern. And now if shop wants to basically target these high purchase people, they could create offers for this, right? You could say more than 500 rupees you get something free, whatever it is. So they encourage them to buy more than 500 rupees or buy a large number of items.